Joining me today is my colleague Lynn Smith, who works for Hidden Disabilities Sunflower based in the US. How are you today, Lynn?
Very good. Thank you, Chantal.
Great to see you as always. And our guest today on the Sunflower Stories is Erica Baldwin, also based in America. Hi, Erica. How are you?
Hi, Chantal. Hi, Lynn. Thank you all for having me. I am doing well. Thank you.
Can you please tell us, whereabouts you are and a bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, I'm originally from the Midwest, so I don't have a Southern accent, but we do live in the South. We live in North Carolina, and I live here with my husband of almost 19 years and our almost 10-year-old son.
What are your interests?
Well, I love to write. I kind of do that as a hobby and also as a part-time freelance writer. I do that. That was my career before my disability.
Can we ask about what your health conditions are and how long you've had them?
Well, I have a genetic condition called Vascular Ehlers Danlos Syndrome. It's a connective tissue disorder, and it's genetic, so I've had it since birth, but I was not diagnosed until age 33. The basic explanation of it is the building blocks of my body are missing a protein. And so that means my insides are like wet paper bag or Kleenex. And that includes my arteries, my vascular system, and the major hollow organs like my colon and intestines.
How does that manifest it for you in your body?
On a big scale, the first major sign was a ruptured colon when I was 20 years old. Started out as a stomach ache. I was in college, had no idea what it was. It was the worst stomach ache I've ever had. I went to a hospital, a local small hospital, and they misdiagnosed it. My mom came up. She lived a couple hours away and was like, something's not right. Took me to a hospital near my home, and they found that my colon had ruptured and my body was going septic. It was shutting down. There were little signs my whole life. I bruise very easily. I have very thin skin and visible veins in my chest. There are certain facial features that are associated with the large eyes and small nose and small chin. 6 months of my life, and then I was 20 years old, and we had no idea what was happening because Ehlers-Danlos syndrome never came up. Like, that phrase never came up with doctors at any level.
So when did you finally get your diagnosis?
So at age 20, I went back to college, finished college, got married in my 20s. My husband and I had some trouble getting pregnant because of all the scar tissue. My stomach was just a mass of scar tissue. So we had to do some fertility treatments for that. Had some loss within those years. And then finally, when I was 33, got pregnant with my son. In childbirth, they induced and I started to labor, but my son's heart rate dropped. And so they had to rush me into emergency C-section. And when they opened me up, it was a disaster. I got to see him be born. I got to kiss his little head. And then they ushered my husband out and my son and said, we have to keep doing surgery. I didn't wake up till about 24 hours later. I had a breathing tube and all these tubes and drains, and I wasn't really aware of what happened. It's kind of a miracle that he was just protected in there. I'm so thankful for the hospital and the doctors who worked on me to keep me here to be a mom.
It's incredible what your body has been through, and the fact that you're joining us here with this, for this conversation to tell us how do your health conditions affect you, on a day-to-day basis.
I always have to be on the lookout for new pain. And if there's any sudden pain or a pain that lasts longer than 30 minutes, I have to go to the ER.
So has that have an effect on work? Are you able to work?
I'm not able to work full time. I can do some part-time stuff because my previous career was in public relations. I can do writing and editing from home.
What is your support network like?
Well, in the immediate at home, my husband is textbook caregiver. So the first year after my son's birth, I was on IV feeding for 9 months. But just the groups online, a lot of times it's like sending out an SOS. I'm having this symptom, or I had this rupture. What did your doctor do? I find that people with vascular EDS are some of the most hopeful people because we know life is fragile.
Do you feel in a state of anxiety, or you've just become used to it?
Definitely. Yeah, I've struggled with anxiety and insomnia over the years in different times. Last fall, I remember just struggling with that a lot. I wake up my husband and just tell him like he has to be aware of my symptoms in case it's something is really wrong.
So how did you learn about the sunflower?
My friend Kelly, who I think you also have talked to, found your organization, and I was like, oh, that's great. When I travel, I have traveled alone a couple times to see friends or family. It's been a struggle, and I'm afraid to ask for help because I look well, and I've paid the price for that. The sunflower definitely would have been helpful because at this point, I don't even wear a medical ID bracelet. I need to. For 10 years, I've needed to order it. And so, I know I need those visual aids to ask for assistance and just make it more obvious, less invisible.
It's a real story of positivity. And I want to thank you for sharing your story with us today, Erica.
Thank you very much for having me and for your organization. I think it's really important. I'm glad that I'm aware of it now and that I can make others aware. Like I've already thought of a handful of friends who could benefit from, having the sunflower out in everyday life when they travel.